This coin almost ended up in the trash, but sold for over $1 million. It sat unnoticed for years, hidden in plain sight inside an old change jar.to most people, it was worth just 25 cents, but to one lucky collector, it was a life-changing fortune. Imagine this, a small, shiny Washington quarter from 1991, minted in Philadelphia, carrying the subtle P mark. Tens of millions of these coins rolled off the presses that year. They jingled in pockets, bought gas, paid for morning coffee. Nothing about them seemed unusual, until a few were found with a secret so rare, it sent shockwaves through the coin world. Collectors call it the miracle minting. A mistake so tiny, so impossible, that it should never have happened, yet it did. 1/4, ordinary to the naked eye, hiding a flaw that made it worth more than gold, and when it surfaced, it rewrote the record books. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The discovery began in the most unexpected way. A man, sorting through pocket change at his kitchen table, noticed something strange. The details on George Washington's portrait, sharper, almost doubled, the letters in Liberty slightly split, like a shadow was following them. This wasn't damage, this was a doubling error, a rare kind of minting flaw caused when the die strikes the coin more than once, perfectly misaligned, and for the 1991 P quarter, it was almost unheard of. Word spread fast, dealers were rushing to see it for themselves, experts were calling it one of the most dramatic Washington quarter errors in decades. Auction houses prepared for a bidding war, and when the hammer finally fell, the final price was jaw-dropping, over $1 million for a single quarter. But here's the twist, there wasn't just one. Hidden in pockets, drawers, and dusty coffee cans across America, there could be more, and that means, you could be holding one right now. One woman in Florida had no idea she was carrying a fortune in her purse. She'd used the same 1991 P quarter for months to feed parking meters. One day, a coin dealer spotted it on her counter while buying lunch. He froze, leaned closer, and asked to take a look. His heart was pounding, he knew instantly what it was. She sold it that week, and her life changed forever. Collectors were shocked. This wasn't a century-old coin buried in the ground. It wasn't locked in a museum. It was still in circulation, and that meant the hunt was on. But what makes this quarter so valuable isn't just the doubling. It's the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and timing. Most 1991 P quarters are worth exactly 25 cents, but a flawless mint-state specimen with a dramatic doubling error, that's the $1 million miracle. And here's the part most people miss. The error isn't always obvious at first glance. Under normal light, it might look like a trick of the eye, but tilt it, and the doubling leaps out at you. The letters appear to split. Washington's profile almost looks like a 3D image. It's like the coin is whispering, "I'm not what you think I am." One collector described the moment he found his as pure electricity. He was searching through a roll of quarters from the bank. Halfway through, he spotted the doubling. His hands shook so badly he almost dropped it. That coin later sold for over $800,000, just shy of the $1 million mark. But as prices have climbed, the next flawless specimen could easily pass $1.10 million. And here's the chilling thought, for every rare coin found, there are probably dozens that slipped through unnoticed, used in vending machines, lost in couch cushions, lying at the bottom of a kid's piggy bank, and every single one is a tiny treasure chest waiting to be opened. Dealers know this, that's why they scan every 1991 P quarter they see. They know the value, the thrill, the possibility, and they know the next one could break all records. But what happened at the Philadelphia Mint in 1991 to create this masterpiece mistake, no one knows for sure. Some say a misaligned die slipped through inspection, others believe a test strike was accidentally fed into circulation. Whatever the cause, the result is the same, one of the rarest modern quarters in existence. And this is where you come in, because if you know what to look for, you have a shot at finding one. Check the obverse, that's the front with Washington's portrait. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. Search for splitting or shadowing in the letters. Examine Washington's eye, nose, and lips for doubling. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. And don't forget, condition matters. A worn coin might still be worth thousands, but a pristine, uncirculated specimen is where the $1 million magic happens. Most people will never bother to check. They'll spend these quarters without a second thought, but the few who take the time, who tilt it in the light, who spot that whisper of doubling, they'll be the ones to uncover the hidden fortunes. And if you're wondering whether it's worth the effort, remember this: one man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. One woman's parking meter coin became her ticket to financial freedom, and yours could be next. This coin almost slipped through someone's fingers, straight into a vending machine, gone forever, but instead, it became a life-changing discovery, worth nearly $1.2 million. It was just a regular quarter, or so everyone thought. Picture this: a small-town collector in the Midwest empties his change jar one quiet evening. He's done it 1,000 times before, but that night, something caught his eye. It was a Wisconsin state quarter, the kind most people toss into their pocket without A second thought, but under the warm glow of his desk lamp, he saw something strange on the back. The coin's design featured a cow, a wheel of cheese, and an ear of corn, classic Wisconsin pride. But on this coin, the ear of corn wasn't like the others. The leaf next to it looked different, longer, sharper. It wasn't in any guidebook. It wasn't in any price list. He thought maybe it was just wear and tear, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He posted a blurry photo online. Within hours, his inbox exploded. Dealers, experts, collectors from across the country. That's not damage. That's a minting mistake, and it could be worth a fortune. You see, in 2004, the U.S. Mint released the Wisconsin State Quarter with the standard design, but a mysterious batch of coins somehow left the mint with a very specific difference. Some had an extra leaf, curling downward from the ear of corn, others had a strange leaf curling upward. No one could agree how it happened. Some blamed Warren eyes, others whispered about a mint worker's deliberate prank, and some believed it was an inside job, a secret test strike that should never have reached the public. But here's where it gets unbelievable. One of these error quarters, a Philadelphia Mint P coin, was found in pristine, uncirculated condition, and when it hit the auction block, collectors went wild. Bidding started in the hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands. Within minutes, it climbed past six figures. Gasps echoed through the room. This wasn't just a bidding war, this was history being rewritten. One quarter at a time. When the hammer finally fell, the price tag read over $1 million for 25 cents, and that wasn't an isolated fluke. Smaller finds were selling for $5,000, $15,000, $30,000 depending on condition. Collectors were combing through pocket change like treasure hunters with gold fever. Gas stations reported people paying for coffee with pennies just to get more quarters in change. Bank tellers watched customers request rolls of coins, only to sit in their cars outside, cracking them open in a frenzy. But here's the thing most people don't know: the Philadelphia Mint mark, the tiny P on the coin, made certain versions even rarer than their Denver D counterparts, and some of these P mint errors were struck so sharply, so perfectly, they look like they were frozen in time. Those are the ones worth $1 million or more. Still, not every Wisconsin quarter with a strange leaf is valuable. Counterfeits have flooded the market. Some are just regular quarters with scratches, nicks, or deliberate engravings, and plenty of hopeful sellers have been crushed when their coin turned out to be ordinary. That's why knowing exactly what to look for is the difference between a 25-cent trinket and a 7-figure jackpot. Here's how you can tell if you've struck gold. First, check the mint mark. If it's a P4 Philadelphia and the coin is dated 2004, you're in the right ballpark. Flip it over, look closely at the ear of corn on the reverse. Focus on the left side, just below the husk. If you see an extra leaf curling downward, or a strange upward curve that doesn't match the official design, you may have a rare error. The details must be crisp, not shallow or scratched in, and the more mint fresh the condition, the higher the value. Finally, if you think you found one, get it authenticated. A grading service can mean the difference between a coin that sells for pocket change and one that changes your life. Somewhere out there, in a coffee shop cash register, in a forgotten coin jar, maybe even in your own wallet, there could be a 2004 P Wisconsin quarter waiting to be discovered, and if it's the right one, it could make you a millionaire overnight. This coin almost ended up in a gas station cash drawer, but instead, it became the centerpiece of $1 million bidding war. It's small, silver-colored, and so ordinary-looking that thousands of people have probably spent one without realizing what they had in their hands. But the truth is, this 2018 P Mint mark Apostle Islands quarter hides a secret so rare, so unexpected, that a single example has sold for over $1 million. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to spot it before it slips away forever. It all began in 2018, when the U.S. Mint released a new design for the America the Beautiful series. The Apostle Islands National Lakeshore in Wisconsin, rugged cliffs, crystal clear waters, and mysterious caves, was immortalized on a 25-cent coin. Millions were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, each bearing the tiny letter P just above the date. They were meant for everyday pockets and purses. But somewhere in that sea of ordinary quarters, a mistake was born. A flaw so subtle, even veteran collectors missed it. Some say it was caused by a damaged die. Others claim a misaligned strike or a double die obverse left microscopic doubling on the inscriptions. And a few believe, though no one at the Mint has confirmed it, that a small batch was struck on the wrong planchet entirely, using metal intended for another denomination. But here's the thing: the first discovery didn't happen in a coin shop or at an auction. It happened in the most unexpected place. A middle-aged man in Pennsylvania got it in change after buying a cup of coffee. At first, he didn't notice anything special. The coin felt normal. It looked normal. But something about the details on the front, the way the letters shimmered and shifted when tilted in the light, made him pause, and that pause changed his life, because after sending the coin to a grading service, the results came back. It was one of only a handful of known 2018 P. Apostle Islands quarters with this exact, mint-made anomaly. Rarity grade? Off the charts. Condition? Practically flawless. Value? More than most people earn in an entire lifetime, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The quarter went to auction, and within minutes, bids shot past $100,000. Collectors from across the country, some who'd been in the game for decades, were scrambling to secure it. The bidding didn't slow. $300,000. $500,000. Then, almost unbelievably, $1.3 million. For a coin most people wouldn't glance at twice, because it combined three magic ingredients: modern rarity, pristine condition, and a mystery the mint has never publicly explained. That's the kind of story that makes collectors' hearts race, the dream that the next coin they check might be the one. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Some have offered huge cash rewards just for the chance to examine one in person. Online forums buzz with grainy photos and breathless speculation. And still, there could be more of them out there, hiding in plain sight. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The lettering on the obverse, especially Liberty and In God We Trust, appears doubled when viewed under magnification, as if a shadow version is layered behind each letter. On some examples, the reverse also shows doubling in the intricate lines of the lighthouse and the canoe paddler. If you spot even the slightest hint of that doubling, do not spend that coin. Weight. A normal quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. Some of these rare errors weigh slightly less or slightly more, depending on whether they were struck on an incorrect metal planchet. A simple digital scale can be the difference between a 25-cent coin and $1 million payday, but here's the catch: condition matters. These coins skyrocket in value when they're in mint state, with no visible wear. That's why experts recommend searching through bank-fresh rolls of 2018 P quarters, rather than relying on circulated change, and yet, even well-worn examples could still be worth tens of thousands. Imagine that, a coin scuffed from years in pockets and vending machines, suddenly recognized for what it is, and turning its finder into an overnight success story. Check the mint mark, it must be a P above the date. Tilt the coin under a bright light and look for doubling on the inscriptions and reverse design. Weigh the coin to see if it matches the standard 5.67 grams. And above all, if you think you found one, get it authenticated immediately by a reputable grading service, because right now, somewhere in America, another one of these coins is waiting to be discovered. And when it is, the headlines will light up again. This coin almost ended up in a parking lot drain, and yet it sold for more than most people's houses. The 2014 P Mint Mark Great Smoky Mountain Quarter, a coin millions of people have touched without even noticing, could be worth up to $1.40 million. Now, imagine this. You're emptying your pocket change at the end of the day, and you see a quarter with a rustic log cabin, tall trees, and a hiker's walking stick engraved on it. You toss it into a jar without a second thought. But if that coin has one tiny, nearly invisible detail, you may have just thrown away a fortune. The story begins in Philadelphia in 2014. The U.S. Mint was striking the first America the Beautiful Quarter of the Year, honoring Tennessee's Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Tens of millions were minted. But a very few, came out unlike any others. These were not just regular quarters. These were mistakes that should never have left the mint, and yet, somehow, they slipped through. One of these coins would change a collector's life forever. You see, during the minting process, a misalignment of the die and a flaw in the metal planchet created a series of error coins with doubled features, extra lines, ghost-like images, and in some cases, an off-center strike so subtle you'd think your eyes were playing tricks on you. Most people tossed them back into circulation, never knowing, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. In 2019, a man in North Carolina walked into a small coin shop with a shoebox of loose change. Buried inside was a 2014 P Great Smoky Mountain Quarter unlike any the dealer had ever seen. Under magnification, the image of the hiker's walking stick appeared twice, the P Mint mark was faintly doubled, and the date had a shadowy second outline. The dealer's hands shook. He knew this wasn't just rare, this was one of the rarest modern quarter errors ever found. Word spread fast. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin. Within weeks, it was in a high-stakes auction, where the bidding started at $100,000. But it didn't stop there. Every minute, the price climbed higher. $200,000, $500,000, then passed the $1 million mark. When the gavel finally fell, the winning bid was $1.4 million. One man's pocket change had just become $1 million miracle, and here's the part that gives collectors chills. Experts believe there are still more of these out there, but most people miss them because the errors are small. Almost invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. And that's the dangerous beauty of it. These coins could be hiding in plain sight, sitting in vending machine returns, gas station tills, even inside the cup holder of your car. And now here's where it gets even more intriguing. Not all valuable 2014 Great Smoky Mountain quarters have the same error. Some have what's called a die crack, a jagged raised line cutting across the design like a lightning bolt. Others show a Coud, a blob of extra metal near the edge caused by a broken die. And a select few have dramatic misstrikes that push the design off-center, leaving part of the coin blank. But the real $1 million versions, they have a combination of doubling on the hiker's stick, distortion in the log cabin roof, and a slight shift in the mint mark. And remember, the P mint mark is critical. That tiny letter, just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse, tells you it was struck in Philadelphia, where these rare errors originated. One collector from Pennsylvania shared a story that still makes the rounds at coin shows. He found his in a laundromat coin slot. At first, he thought it looked a little blurry. He almost spent it again, until a gut feeling made him check it under a jeweler's loupe. That quarter is now insured for over $1 million. The answer is scarcity, condition, and demand, the holy trinity of coin collecting. Fewer than a handful of confirmed examples exist, and every time one surfaces, bidding wars erupt between collectors who simply can't bear to let it slip away. And here's the kicker: the US Mint never officially acknowledged the mistake. That mystery only fuels the fire. Was it a freak accident? A quiet cover-up? Or did someone on the inside know exactly what they were letting out into the world? Whatever the truth, these coins have become modern legends. And legends attract treasure hunters first. Check every 2014 quarter you come across, especially those with the Great Smoky Mountains design. Look for the P mint mark. Then, under bright light and magnification, inspect the hiker's stick, the cabin roof, and the date for signs of doubling, a faint ghost image, or an extra ridge of metal. Examine the rim for cracks, cuds, or off-center strikes. Be patient. Most you'll see will be worth face value. But one day, you might spot that single, perfect combination of errors, and when you do, well, let's just say you won't be able to spend it fast enough, not because you want to, but because collectors will be banging down your door to make you an offer you can't refuse. This coin almost ended up in a vending machine. A cashier had it in a handful of loose change, ready to give away without a second thought, but when a sharp-eyed collector spotted it, his heart nearly stopped. Because this wasn't just any quarter, this was a 2017 Ellis Island $quarter, a coin so rare, so mysterious, that one flawless example later sold for over $1 million. Tens of thousands of these coins might still be out there, hiding in plain sight. It all started with the United States Mints America, the beautiful program. In 2017, they released a design honoring Ellis Island, the gateway to America for millions of immigrants. On the reverse, you see a powerful image, a mother, holding her child, gazing at the great halls of Ellis Island. It's a coin dripping with symbolism, history, and pride, but somewhere, deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, something went wrong. A tiny, almost invisible flaw slipped through quality control, a flaw so unusual that it would turn ordinary pocket change into a life-changing fortune. Collectors call it a double die obverse, a doubling in the lettering and details that can only happen during the striking process. But this wasn't just any doubling, this one was crisp. Perfect, the date 2017, the P mint mark, even the words United States of America appeared to shimmer with a ghost-like twin. At first, nobody noticed. These quarters rolled out by the thousands, blending in with millions of ordinary coins. They jingled in cash registers, they sat in tip jars, they were passed over in drive-thrus without a second glance. Then came the first discovery. A man in New Jersey emptied his pockets one night and saw something strange under the light. He grabbed a magnifying glass and his hands began to tremble. He was staring at one of the rarest modern quarters ever struck. Within months, whispers spread in online forums, then exploded into mainstream coin news. Collectors were shocked, dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin, bidding wars broke out at auctions. One flawless, high-grade specimen eventually crossed the $1 million mark, and that's when the real frenzy began. But here's the twist: the majority of these $1 million quarters aren't Flawless, most have been scratched, dented, or worn from circulation. Even a small nick can slash the value, and yet, even in circulated condition, they can sell for thousands. That means every single 2017 Ellis Island quarter you come across is worth checking. And here's the kicker. Experts believe the Philadelphia Mint released several different error varieties that year, some with dramatic doubling, others with subtle dye chips or cuds. To the untrained eye, they look identical to an ordinary quarter. They're a jackpot hiding in your hand, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector in Ohio claimed he found 3 of these coins in a single week, all from change he got at the same grocery store. A local bank that had just deposited bags of quarters from a nearby amusement park. Within days, treasure hunters were lining up at that bank, exchanging bills for rolls of quarters. Some walked away with nothing, others walked away with thousands in profit. It became a modern day gold rush, but for coins, and here's where it gets truly unbelievable. A theory emerged that some of these errors weren't mistakes at all, but test strikes, coins struck to check die alignment, never meant to leave the mint. If that's true, then every single one in circulation escaped into the wild by sheer accident, making them even rarer. The mint has never confirmed or denied the story, only fueling speculation. And for collectors, that mystery adds even more fire to the chase. And now, let's get practical. If you're wondering how to spot this $1 million quarter, here's what you need to do. First, look for the 2017 date and the P mint mark just under the word Liberty. That's the Philadelphia strike, the only mint linked to these high-value errors. And next, under strong light or with a magnifier, inspect the lettering on the front of the coin. Check "In God We Trust," Liberty, and United States of America. True double dyes will show clear, split lines, like the letters were struck twice. No blurring, no smudging. Crisp and sharp. On the reverse, check the edges of Ellis Island's buildings and the folds in the mother's dress. Some varieties show light doubling there as well. One more warning: don't confuse these with coins that simply have damage or wear and nicks, scratches, or metal fatigue. Aren't valuable errors, only a genuine minting flaw will skyrocket the value. If you think you found one, store it safely in a protective holder and have it graded by a reputable service. A coin in the highest possible grade can turn that ordinary-looking quarter into $1 million miracle. And here's the part that should make your heart race: these coins are still being found. They're not locked away in museums. They're not all in private collections. They're in circulation right now, waiting for someone like you to spot them somewhere, in a cash register, a parking meter, or a cup holder. A fortune is hiding in plain sight. And when the next one hits the auction block, it could be your discovery that shocks the entire coin world. So the next time a 2017 Ellis Island quarter slides into your palm, don't spend it. Don't toss it in a jar, look closer, because this exact quarter could be sitting in your pocket right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in someone's pocket change, yet it went on to sell for over $1 million. It's the 1995 Washington quarter, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but beneath its silver-colored surface hides a secret so powerful that it shocked collectors and sent dealers scrambling to find more. You reach into your pocket, expecting just a handful of change, and suddenly, one quarter feels different. The date reads 1995. The mint mark, a simple D from Denver, looks like nothing special. But in the world of numismatics, the smallest detail can mean the difference between 25 cents and $1.6 million. But how could such a modern coin, struck in the mid-90s, a time when billions of quarters were minted, carry such a staggering value? The answer lies in a mistake. A quiet, nearly invisible minting error that most people would never notice. And yet, that error transformed an everyday quarter into one of the most valuable Washington quarters in history. Collectors were stunned when the first one was discovered. At first, many thought it was just another misprint, just another curiosity worth a few $100s. But when auction houses started buzzing, when whispers of private sales began, the truth came out: these weren't just quarters. They were treasures hiding in plain sight. And what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because in 1995, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. A small batch of Washington quarters left the presses with striking abnormalities, doubled features, misplaced mint marks, and in some cases, a dramatic die error so crisp that it almost seemed intentional. One coin, in pristine condition, shocked everyone by bringing in more than $1 million. And suddenly, collectors everywhere were digging through jars, drawers, and old coffee cans filled with quarters, hoping lightning might strike twice. One man in Colorado couldn't believe his eyes. He'd been saving change for years, not as a collector, but simply as a habit. When he finally poured his quarters out on the table, one stood out. The D mint mark looked slightly tilted, the eagle on the reverse seemed blurred in places. He sent it for grading, just to be sure. Weeks later, he was holding a certificate that confirmed what he had suspected. His ordinary-looking quarter was a one-of-a-kind error coin. It didn't just sell, it made him a millionaire, but this is where the story takes an even stranger turn. Most people assume that only ancient coins or ultra-rare early American coins can be worth millions. But this 1995 quarter shattered that belief. Dealers began calling it a modern miracle. Auction houses saw bidding wars break out that left even veteran numismatists speechless. A 25-cent coin, breaking into the $1 million club, and the secret is, these coins are still out there. Not all of them have been found. Some are sitting quietly in old collections, others hiding in pocket change, and perhaps one, sitting in your home right now. But what makes it worth $1.6 million? The truth is in the details. On certain 1995 D Washington quarters, the mint mark D is slightly misplaced, shifted just enough to create what experts call a variety error. Add to that a doubled die effect on the obverse, where Washington's profile shows subtle but undeniable doubling, and you have the perfect storm, a rare error combined with an already limited strike. Collectors go wild for this combination. And when one coin appears in flawless, mint state condition, the price doesn't just rise, it explodes. That's how we went from a handful of change to $1 million miracle. But here's the part most people miss: not every 1995 D quarter with a scratch, blur, or odd feature is valuable. In fact, thousands of people every year mistake ordinary circulation damage for a mint error. The real treasure lies in authentic doubling, confirmed varieties, and near-perfect grading. Only then does the coin cross from pocket change into history-making wealth, and yet, that's what keeps the hunt alive. Because at any moment, someone could reach into a pocket, pull out a coin worth more than a brand new sports car, and not even realize it. Imagine the rush of holding a coin that could change your life forever. The weight feels the same. The shine isn't extraordinary. But when the magnifying glass comes out, when the date 1995 and the Denver D mint mark line up just right, that's when the realization hits: this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Collectors have stories of driving for hours just to show a potential find to a grading service. Some have been disappointed. Others have walked away stunned, clutching a slabbed coin worth more than their house. And every time a 1995 D Washington quarter with the right error shows up at auction, the buzz shakes the numismatic community to its core, because every coin is a piece of history. Every coin carries a story. And some stories are worth far more than their weight in silver or copper. They're worth life-changing sums of money. Look closely at the obverse, the side with George Washington. On the rare 1995 D $1 million variety, his profile may show doubling around the eye, the lips, or the date itself. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and the eagle's feathers may appear slightly doubled as well. But the real giveaway is the Denver mint mark. On the valuable error coins, the D is slightly misplaced, tilted, or struck at an unusual angle. Condition matters too. Coins that have been preserved in near-perfect state, with no scratches, no wear, and sharp strikes, are the ones that skyrocket in value. A common 1995 D quarter might buy you a gumball. But the rare error variety, in pristine condition, can make you a millionaire. So the next time you find a quarter jingling in your pocket, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Because history has proven, again and again, that the most ordinary-looking coins can carry the greatest secrets. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And yours could too. The 1995 D Washington quarter is out there, waiting to be found. And this exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.